Good morning, students. Today we are going to talk about memory allocation method. Okay, so when we say that we are writing set of statements or we are writing programs, and we have generally said that any variable, any function, array, whatever we use in the program will take up the memory space. So let's understand now what is this memory allocation method. So whenever we talk about the computer's memory, the memory that is taken up by the variables or by the set of instructions, they can be stored in two ways. Okay, so we have two ways of trying to allocate the memory. We have a method called as static memory allocation, and the second type is dynamic memory allocation. So we have these two types of memory allocations: static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation. Now, what is static memory allocation? So you can have a look at the keyword here, the word static. It means that a thing which is not going to change, which is constant. So whenever you write your C program, after you have written it, you will first compile it to check for errors. So at that time, at the time of compilation, the memory is going to be allocated to the variables or to those set of statements which are there in the program. So that is called as static memory allocation. Now, assume that you have declared an array. Okay, let's say that we have declared an array called as A, and the size of the array we have given as 10. So it means that we are able to store elements from the index 0 to 9 here. Now this memory, when I have declared this array and when I compile the program, the memory is going to be allocated at the time of program compilation, and that is called as static memory allocation. So if looking at this particular statement, array of size 10, so it means that the memory, the computer is going to allocate say around 20 blocks, right? Integer array, so 2 bytes each. So 2 into 10 will make it 20 blocks. So altogether 20 bytes of memory is going to be allocated to this particular statement. Now what happens is, say when I try to run the program, I may not use the entire memory space, right? I may just use, I say I'll just use around 5 blocks. I will enter the only 5 elements. Rest of the 5 blocks are wasted now. Similarly, if I try to run the program and the other way around now, if I need to store more data, I am falling short of memory. I've declared the size of the array to be 10, but then I want to store 20 elements. So now I cannot have more memory. I cannot have the access for more memory here. Only this much block is going to be allocated, not more or not less. So two possibilities happen when we talk about static memory allocation. That is, either the storage space is wasted, or the storage space we fall short. That is, there is a shortage of the storage space there. So now to overcome this, okay, we have come up with the second one, that is dynamic memory allocation method. So dynamic, as the word goes, as the meaning of the word goes here, dynamic means wherein you are able to allocate the memory space as and how you require. If you want, you can increase it during program runtime. If you want, you can decrease it. So this dynamic memory allocation, this memory is allocated especially at the time of execution, only at the time of execution of the program, or you can say when you are trying to run the program. We usually say we will run the program. So at that time the memory is going to be allocated. So this type of memory allocation method, when is it suitable? Especially when you say that you want to store, maybe you have created a student array list, and you know that the list of the students, if you are planning to store the details of those students who are taking admissions, so it may keep on increasing or decreasing. At such a scenario wherein you are not sure as to how much memory space you may require, it may be more or less, so that time you can go for dynamic memory allocation. So when we make use of dynamic memory allocation, Okay, we are not restricted by the size here because we have the flexibility to either increase the size or even decrease the size. So the storage space will not be wasted. Okay, are these two terms clear? Static memory and dynamic memory? Yes, students, did you follow what is static memory and dynamic memory? Should I repeat it?
Ma'am, repeat the dynamic.
Okay. So dynamic memory means wherein you allocate the memory space, okay, when you run the program, not when you compile the program. So first you write the program, you compile it and then you run it. So when you are running the program, when you are actually executing the program, at that time the memory is going to be executed. That is called as dynamic memory allocation. So dynamic means you have the flexibility here. You have the capability to either increase your memory or even decrease your memory when you execute it. For example, just a simple example, that assume that you are trying to store the student list, the list of the students, you want to enter their names, and you have declared an array. Now, as and how the student list goes on increasing, you will require more space in the memory. Or say the number of students you expected were 1,000 and only 10 have turned up. So you need not declare an array there of size 1,000. At such a scenario wherein the memory space that you require in the computer keeps on changing, it may be more or it may be less. At that time, you can go for dynamic memory allocation. Okay. Now, when we say dynamic memory allocation, we are saying that we are able to increase the storage size or we are able to consume decrease the less amount of storage, right? So what happens is memory space will not be wasted because we have not declared any such a statement. We will not declare like this. Okay, there's a different syntax which we can use to declare a dynamic memory there. So when we are not declaring like this, when you look at the statement, you're sure that you have an array which is capable of holding only 10 elements there. It will not be in a position to hold the 11th element. Can I, if here, tell me when you look at this statement, can I add two more elements here? After entering my 10 elements, can I enter two more elements?
No,
That
ma'am.
is not allowed, right? Yes, we can't. So even if 10 elements are declared there, let me say I enter only 5, that is allowed, but the other 5 memory blocks are getting wasted there. So what is happening is computer's memory, the storage space, when we try to use it in the form of a static memory, it tends to get wasted or it is tend to getting overused. But when we talk about dynamic, we have that flexibility. How much we want, only that much we can declare. So we are not making, we are not wasting rather than whatever computer's memory is there, we are not wasting it. So that is called as dynamic memory allocation. Let us understand this in deep now. Okay, this is just the definition. Like first, what you need to understand is we are talking about memory allocation methods. In the memory allocation methods, we have two types. First one is the static memory allocation, and the second is dynamic memory allocation. So static means what? Something which is fixed. So when we declare this statement, we can see that we are expecting from the computer, we need this much block of memory. But when we come up to talk about the dynamic, we have the flexibility to either increase or decrease the memory size that we need for our program. Now, have a look at this memory allocation process. Okay, pay attention to this theoretical concept, very easy. Now, we have been talking about our data types. We say that integer is taking 2 bytes or 4 bytes and so on. So, even this memory allocation method, okay, it is dependent on your computer's architecture. So, it is a task of your operating system how much memory it wants to allocate, okay, to which sector it wants to allocate. Now have a look at this particular diagram here. You can see here we have four sections, right? At the bottommost we have C program instructions, and that is put up in a section called as permanent storage area. Then you have another section called as global variables. So even that is put up in the section called as permanent storage area. Now the sections which we are concerned for dynamic memory allocation is the heap, is this third section, that is free memory. And we will also understand what is this stack and what are these local variables. Now, can you tell me what is a global variable? Can you recall?
It can be accessed in the whole program, like it don't have
Program.
any restrictions.
Correct. So global variables are those variables which can be accessed throughout the program. Like, and first, where do we declare it? Let us have a look here.
Before the main function.
Yes, we will declare it before the main function. That is, we will be declaring it here, right? After this, your hash include statements and before the main section, that is, this is called as a global section. So here you will declare it. So such variables which are used throughout the program, that will be called as global variables. Fine, these both are stored in the permanent storage area. Then coming to the next two parts, stack and heap. Okay, let us first understand what is a stack. We have already understood, you remember the stack operations, push and pop, where one end is open and we try to insert and all that. Now let us understand what is this stack memory here. So here you can see that it is shown in the diagram as local variables. So any variables which you have declared so far in the program, we would declare int n, int a, or even a pointer, int p, int star p. So all such variables are put up in our this particular section called as the stack section. Okay. Now this stack section will include your local variables, will include your function calls. And what happens is in this stack section, as soon as your program's execution is over, they are erased from this particular slot. They are erased, and that space is made available again for the next upcoming set of instructions. Okay, like we'll have a look at this example now here to make you understand it in a better way. Okay, both the screens are visible, I hope. Okay, so have a look at the program here on the editor on my right hand side. Are you able to see the program?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will have a look here. Now come inside the main function here. You can see I have declared a variable called as result. Okay. First of all, let's start right from the main function. So we have started our program and we require some memory space. Main is also a function, right? So that will require a memory space. Now this particular section, okay, the program instructions and these variables, these function calls are all put up onto the section called as stack. Okay, so I have just diagrammatically shown you here on the Excel sheet. These are your memory addresses. Then this rectangular section is called as the stack. Okay, now here you can see I have just drawn heading, like I put a line to distinguish between the variables and the function calls. So first one here, the main function you have, that will take up some memory space. So say inside this main function, assume you have some more variables here. You have x and y also. Okay. So x comma y, even that is taken up here. So you also have the variable result. So even result will be added in this section. Right. So even result will be there here. So they are taking up the memory space. Next thing, you come to this particular function call here. Result is equal to sum. Sum is a function call. So even that is taking the memory space. It is requires taking two arguments there, that takes up the memory space. So now currently we have reached this statement. We have reached this function call. We are here. Okay, we are here. Now the execution is running. When you come to this particular function call, you will come down, right? You will come to this function definition, and this set of execution is done, and then you return it. You are trying to return the addition of these two numbers. You'll return it to this particular variable called result. So once that execution is over, from the memory, this particular function is going to be erased. Okay, and printf, next statement you have is the printf. So again, for that particular statement here, again some memory space will be allocated. Once it is printed and you have clicked on the exit, so even this gets erased from the memory. Then the execution from the main, you have totally closed, this execution is over, so even this gets erased from the memory. So a stack section is responsible for performing or for storing these set of instructions which are stored there only till your program execution. Once your program execution is over, they will be erased up from this memory and this memory is made available to the other set of instructions. Sometimes when, if at all you have not coded properly and then you your program goes in an infinite loop, so this stack tends to get filled up and your program is going to crash. So that is basically a condition of stack overflow. There is no space left in the stack now to allocate for these variables. So that is a bad programming practice. Now, after this particular stack section, have a look here again at this particular diagram. We are left with one section called as the heap. And heap, you can see here what description is given. It is said free memory. Okay. So heap is a section which is capable, whose memory size can be changed during the execution. It can expand or it can decrease based on the statements, the program statements that we write. Heap is also called as a free pool. Free pool because it is virtually, we try to understand it that it is a very vast size, a very vast memory space. Okay. So you are, since you're making use of dynamic memory allocation, you're trying to execute, you're trying to take up a particular block, say just a particular block of a memory space only at the time of program execution when I try to enter my data. Okay, so that is that section whose memory size, whose size can increase or whose size can decrease during the program execution at the runtime at program execution, that is called as dynamic memory allocation. So the section that we will study now, that how do we declare a block of memory from this heap, that is called as dynamic memory allocation. And that whatever you want to declare there, that will be taken up in the heap section. Okay. Now, when we talk about dynamic memory allocation, we have a library and that library is called as stdlib.h. Okay, like you have the header file stdio.h for input output statements. So stdlib.h header file you will have to include in the program when you want to make use of dynamic memory allocation. Now we have four methods. Let me write here. We have the malloc method, we have calloc, we have realloc, and we have free. Okay, so these are four methods or four functions which we will use for dynamic memory allocation. Now, this is also called as malloc or calloc. Alloc stands for memory allocation. Okay. Now, these four are used for dynamic memory allocation. That is what I told. Now, when I told you about the stack, I told you that as soon as program execution is over, it automatically erases it from the memory. Okay, we are not doing the task here of erasing. That is, we are not coding anything to erase from the memory. The compiler itself, the computer, the operating system will clear it off from the memory. But when we talk about the heap section, when we talk about the dynamic memory allocation and we follow these methods to allocate the memory, we need to manually remove the instructions from this particular memory block. Okay, it is not going to be automatically erased in the heap section. You will have to code it. You will have to follow this particular method. And when you make use of this statement, whatever memory was allocated is going to be erased from this memory. So what is in the heap section, you are manually allocating the memory and you are manually erasing it also. If you do not erase, it is going to be there. Okay, and that is a bad practice. Even if you would not write this last statement, it will still work. But then that is a bad practice. Once you allocate a memory, you will also have to remove it. So this is the theoretical part. So before we proceed ahead, is this theoretical part understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody requires any repetition here? No doubts?
Ma'am, what if you don't clear the memory in the heap? Like, what will happen if
That memory block is going to be still allocated. No other resource, I mean no other variable will be able to use it. What happens is, just like we say, no, nothing, since you're writing small code, much of a difference will not be there. But then in talking in terms of computer architecture and going at the very deeper level, we say that it is a bad programming practice. That is not said to be a good programming practice, because we are not allocating, we are not making use this memory free for other resources. We have some other variables, and those variables require this heap section. So some section is already taken up, and now what happens is other variables may fall short. That is when, when you are doing very extreme level of coding, we are just writing a few lines of program, so that will not make much of a difference. But the good practices, when we talk for dynamic programming, memory allocation is to be done manually. We will do it. Also, erasing it, that does not happen. The garbage collection, it is called as garbage collection in Java. So that will not automatically take place here. The removing or erasing it from the memory does not automatically happen. So again, you have to do it manually. If you don't do it, it is just memory is going to pile up there, and it will be remaining in the memory. Nothing major, program will not crash or your system will not crash. Nothing such a thing will not happen.
Okay, ma'am.
So let us move to one very small, just will declare certain set of statements here. Okay, just to see how it is allocated. I'll try to show with this picture itself here. Have a look here. I have mentioned this header file. Okay, you remember we have 4 types of memory allocation methods, dynamic memory allocation methods rather. That is, we have malloc, we have calloc, we have realloc, that is trying to reallocate the memory, and we have free, which will help us to clear out whatever we have declared. These are the 4 types, which are dynamic memory allocation methods. Then we want to make use of these, you need to include this header file. Now, coming to your main function, let me say that, okay, let me declare a variable. I'll say int a. Can you tell me in which section this variable goes? Whether it goes on the stack or whether it will go on the heap?
Stack.
Yes, this is going to go on the stack. See, we have used these conventions. No, we have used int a, int star p. We have used these function calls. We have used these function calls. These are called function calls. So all these will be put up on the stack. Stack indicates static memory allocation. So this is one method. Okay, we have put it on the stack now. Let me write another statement here. Let me write int star p. So where does this particular pointer, where does this p go? To which section does it go where the memory is allocated?
Stack.
Yes, it will again be put up on the stack. So far, yes, thank you for your wonderful toning, very instrumental response. Thank you. Okay, so far we have only studied up till here, which we say that will go up on the stack. Now let me write another statement here. Okay, I'll write P is equal to, just you observe the statement that I'm writing, I'll explain it. Okay, now let me write the syntax of using malloc, of using dynamic memory allocation. Let me write the syntax here. To write this particular malloc, to use this particular malloc, you will require a pointer variable on your left hand side. Okay, a pointer variable is equal to this particular thing is called as cast type. Okay, this is called as cast type. After this, we will have the keyword malloc, MALLOC. In the bracket, you need to give byte size. Now, we'll understand what these terms mean. Okay, PTR is a pointer, any pointer, P, PTR, A, B, whatever you want, you declare. But this has to be a pointer variable. Is equal to, on the right hand side, you have a term called as cast type, and you can see an asterisk mark. Okay. Now, what happens is this cast type will basically, to understand it in the simplest way, it means it is the data type, the type of the data that you want to return. Usually, whenever this malloc function is called, okay, it returns a void pointer. It usually returns like this. This is how it returns. Okay, this is how it will return. It will return this void. Now, in our program, we may want to use integer, we may want to use float, we may want to use character based on what we are trying to store in the variable. No? So what we are going to do is we are going to typecast it. We are going to convert this void to the required data type, whether it is integer, float or char and so on. So this cast type will basically tell you what kind of a data type you want to return, the pointer, what this malloc function should return, what type, what data type, integer and all. So here you can see here, P is a pointer, I have declared a pointer P. In the bracket I have written int star, meaning I am expecting this malloc function to convert this void into the type integer. Okay. Next thing, malloc is a keyword which indicates that we need a dynamic memory allocation, meaning we require memory space from this heap section. But how many bytes? How many bytes of memory blocks do you require from the heap section? If we are talking about integer and we are talking about just a single, say just a single block of int, you know that int will take up to 2 bytes. So the byte size here that will be allocated for an integer, a single block of memory, will be around 2 bytes. Okay. So you can specify that size based on your declaration. You can declare it. So we will see that how many bytes we need. So if at all we are saying it is of type integer and we just require a single block, it is going to give us, allocate us 2 bytes of memory space. So when I say 2 bytes, now again, these 2 blocks will be allocated. Assume these 2 blocks are allocated. So only the starting address, 200, is going to be stored in the memory. Okay. Did you understand this explanation for these syntax that I gave you now? Should I repeat?
Ma'am, the void part, can you please repeat it once again?
Yes. The malloc function usually returns a pointer of type void. Okay. But we, in the program, we will make use of, we will try to store the values of type integer, or we will try to store the type of float or characters or doubles. So what we will do is we want this particular void to be converted to our data type. We call it as typecasting. That is why we have written here as cast underscore type. Otherwise, we would simply write as data type also, no, because you can see here in this statement here, I have written P is equal to int star. So I could just write here as a data type. But actually how it works is malloc function usually will return a void pointer, and based on the data that we want to store, if it is integer, we are requesting it to typecast, that is we are requesting it to convert this void to a type of integer. So in short, yes, yes, you said something. So in short, we are saying that cast type is nothing but the data type that we want to make use of. So if it is, you need not mention this second statement, okay? You need not mention this second statement. This statement is only for your understanding that I have put up here. This one. Let me just expand this. So this statement at line number 7 is only for your understanding to tell how actually the malloc function works. Whenever we write, we will be following this particular syntax, wherein cast type is the data type that you will mention. Okay, and size of integer, size of function. Okay, now the size of, what is this size of function? Size of function will tell us a particular data type takes how many bytes on the computer. So you know that integer takes 2 bytes. If I would replace this integer with character, size of function will tell me it takes 1 byte of memory. So this size of function will tell us how much memory space a particular data type takes. So since I have made use here of integer, no? So I want to know how much integer takes. So I have written here size of. Now we'll come to this statement here. Okay, this particular variable p is put up on the stack. Let us say that I will put it up at some memory location here. Let me say the p is allocated here. Currently it is not initialized anything. The value is not initialized. Let me write p. So p is taking up the memory space 1008 on stack. Now we'll come to the next statement here. P is equal to, and this particular statement, P has already taken up the memory space. This malloc will also require memory space. So currently, since it is just declared of type integer, this will only take up, integer takes how much? It will take 2 bytes. This is going to take 2 bytes of memory block. Now, this will also require, okay, this statement also requires a memory space on the computer, but this will require a memory space on your heap, because this function, the malloc function, talks about dynamic memory allocation. So when we say dynamic memory allocation, we are talking about the heap section. Okay, so if I have to allocate a memory space for this, let us go to this Excel sheet here. Say that I need to allocate a memory space for the heap. Let us say that it is taking up these 2 bytes. Okay, it will take up these 2 bytes. So now you can assume that, let me highlight, let me just try to point and show you here. So you can say that this particular pointer P is pointing here. It is pointing to this heap section. How can you say that? Have a look at the statement here again. I have declared a pointer P which takes up the memory block on the stack. So we have assigned it some memory address there. P is equal to, we are writing this statement for a dynamic memory allocation. The syntax is you write the data type. This is the data type as a pointer here. Write the keyword malloc, which is memory allocation. In the bracket, you need to tell the size. Okay, you need to tell the size, how many bytes are required. Currently, since I have not declared the actual, like we have not written 10 bytes or 20 bytes, no array, nothing is there. Just we can write size of integer. We just want to store something, a variable of type integer. So you know integer takes how many bytes? Integer takes 2 bytes. So this also requires some memory address. But where this particular dynamic memory allocation takes up, it is taking up on the heap. So we have assigned a memory location here on the heap. What is the starting address here? 200. So this P will be pointing to this particular section or this particular address here, that is 200. Can you tell me what is the address of P? I just want the address of P. Where, at what location is P stored? The variable P. We have done this before. Why are you so confused? This is the memory address. No, this is the memory address. P is stored here. I have not assigned any value. If some value would be assigned, it would be like this. So what is the address of P now? Have a look here.
1000.
So it is going to be say 1008, right? It is of type integer, so 1008, and the bottom section 1009. So this is address of P. So if I ask you what is the address of this particular statement here, malloc statement, have a look here in the heap section. The address for the malloc statement is 200. Just starting, since it's of type integer, only 2 blocks of memory, and we're talking only about the starting address. So it is going to be 200. Is there any confusion in this? Should I repeat it? Did you people follow honestly? Please, can you answer? I feel you people have not understood this.
It's a bit complicated one.
It's complicated. We'll make it easy. We'll go through it once again. Can you people rejoin the meeting? You have a class at 11, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So,
ma'am, we can.
just rejoin. We'll cover it in at least 15 minutes, only this section. Okay, since the session is ending, I'm just left with 1 minute. I'll close the session now and we will restart it.